Welcome to Nutrition Basics. My name is Samantha Haswell, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist at Massey Cancer Center. March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and today we'll be discussing how to protect yourself against colorectal cancer. Let's start by talking about the research to reduce your risk of colorectal cancer. World Cancer Research Fund and the American Institute for Cancer Research have joined together for a research project called the Continuous Update Project. This program analyzes global research on diet, nutrition, physical activity, and cancer risk to make recommendations to the public. In the table on the screen, you can see the current recommendations for reducing your colorectal cancer risk. We will go over each of the controllable risk factors above to help you reduce your risk. Let's start by talking about processed meats and red meats. It has been recommended by the Continuous Update Project and American Institute of Cancer Research that people limit their red meat to 12 to 18 ounces per week or less. Red meats include beef, pork, and lamb. It has also been recommended that people skip processed meats as much as they can. Processed meats include any meat that has been smoked, cured, salted, fermented, or had any preservatives added to it. This includes things like hot dogs, bacon, sausage, and deli meats. The reason for this recommendation is that cooking meats at high temperatures can result in formation of heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons that have been linked to colorectal cancer development in experimental studies. There is also concern that high levels of heme iron in red meats can promote colorectal tumorigenesis. Processed meats, even in small amounts, have been associated with increased risk of colorectal cancer. If you're someone who really loves processed meats and maybe likes to have bacon often, it may be a good idea to only have bacon when you're out to eat with your family, or keep it out of the house as much as you can. Now let's talk about reducing your risk with healthier protein sources. For animal proteins, poultry, fish, and shellfish can all be healthier choices to make when you're trying to prevent colorectal cancer. But you could also think of animal proteins as a complement or side dish to your mostly plant-based meal to make sure you're not overdoing it. It may also be a good idea to consider some meatless protein sources like beans or legumes, soy proteins like tofu or edamame, or protein sources like nuts and seeds at your meals to go for a meatless option. We talked about protein sources, but let's talk about the plant-based portion of your meals. Whole grains are a great source of dietary fiber, which not only helps with bowel movement regularity, but may also reduce your risk of colorectal cancer by decreasing your GI transit time and diluting carcinogens in your stools. Whole grains also have a high amount of bioactive compounds like vitamin E, selenium, copper, zinc, lignans, and phytochemicals, which may have potential anti-carcinogenic properties. When choosing whole grains, consider aiming for 3 servings daily, or about 1 serving per meal. 90 grams, or about 3 servings of whole grains, may reduce your colorectal cancer risk by up to 17%. This graphic here gives you an idea of what a typical serving of whole grains is. Things like 1 slice of whole grain bread, or half a cup of cooked brown rice with dinner can be a great option for getting your whole grains in. We talked about whole grains, but what about other sources of dietary fiber? As you saw in the table from the Continuous Update Project, eating foods containing dietary fiber can reduce your risk of colorectal cancer. But how does this work? Dietary fiber is fermented in the bowel and may form short-chain fatty acids that can suppress growth of cancer cells. High fiber diets may also reduce your insulin resistance, which is a potential risk factor for colorectal cancer. American Institute for Cancer Research recommends aiming for 30 grams of dietary fiber daily to help lower your cancer risk. High fiber diets have also been shown to reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Now that we talked about whole grains and dietary fiber, let's talk a bit about the research regarding fruits and vegetables, which also happen to be high in dietary fiber. According to research from the Continuous Update Project, they found increased risk of colorectal cancer with low intake of fruits and non-starchy vegetables, less than 300 grams per day, which is about less than 3 cups. But they saw a decreased risk of colorectal cancer when people had fruit and non-starchy vegetables in about 5 cups or more per day. This means that getting the 5 a day rule in can be really helpful in keeping your risk down. Keep in mind that peas, corn, and potatoes are considered starchy vegetables. While they're part of a healthy diet, they're not included in this research. So you want to make sure that that's not what you're trying to load up on when you're looking for this. We talked about proteins, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, but you may also be interested to know that dairy products have also been associated with reduced risk of colorectal cancer. It is believed that calcium may bind to bile acids and free fatty acids that can have a toxic effect on the rectum and the colon. Calcium may also prevent KRAS mutations that could lead to colon cancer and may help prevent promotion of colon cancer development. Keep in mind that for heart health, it's important that you choose dairy products that are low in saturated fat, like skim milk. Another way to reduce your colorectal cancer risk is to eliminate or reduce your alcohol consumption. In particular, research has found that 2 or more alcoholic drinks per day was shown to have an increased risk of colorectal cancer. When we drink alcohol, our bodies produce something called acetaldehyde, which may be potentially carcinogenic. Alcohol can also cause oxidative stress that leads to inflammation that can increase your cancer risk. As able, avoid drinking alcohol, or if you choose to drink alcohol, limit it to 1 drink per day for women and 2 drinks per day for men. Overweight and obesity have been shown to increase risk of developing a number of cancers, but it's important to keep in mind that these measures don't look at lean body mass versus fat mass. Fat mass is unfortunately associated with increased levels of insulin, which can promote cancer cell growth and has been linked to higher risk of colorectal cancer. Based on the research, risk of colorectal cancer increases with increased body mass index. So what can we do to prevent this? As you saw in the Continuous Update Project table earlier, physical activity can help reduce your risk of colorectal cancer and can also help individuals achieve a healthy weight. American Institute for Cancer Research and the American Heart Association recommend that you aim for about 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity to reduce your risk of multiple cancers and protect yourself from heart disease. Some examples of moderate physical activity include walking fast, water aerobics, riding a bike, playing tennis, or even pushing your lawnmower around. To help meet the nutrition recommendations for reducing your colorectal cancer risk, you can consider using the new American Plate Method. This method, developed by the American Institute for Cancer Research, aims for 2/3 of your plate or more plant-based, with whole grains, fruits, and non-starchy vegetables, and 1/3 of your plate protein-based, whether that's healthy animal proteins like your fish, poultry, or shellfish, or plant proteins like beans, legumes, tofu, nuts, or nut butters. Try to aim for at least 5 cups of fruits and non-starchy vegetables, and keep in mind that those whole grains are a healthy part of your diet for reducing colorectal cancer risk. This next slide here is just a list of references in case you want to look anything up yourself. And we really hope you enjoyed this Nutrition Basics webinar. I hope this helped you learn more about reducing your colorectal cancer risk. And if you're looking for opportunities to increase your physical activity, consider joining us for the Ramble on the first Saturday and third Saturday of every month. At the Ramble, patients and VCU Health staff have the opportunity to chat outside the clinic setting and walk together for wellness. If you're looking for recipe ideas or nutrition resources, please check out our Massey Diet and Nutrition blog, linked in the QR code provided. And as always, please feel free to reach out to me with any suggestions for topics or if you have any nutrition questions. You can email me directly at samantha.haswell@vcuhealth.org.